one.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jet airliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome to Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. It is Friday, and you know what that means. Todd Leary's on the program. Can't wait to talk to him. Drew Davis joins us. We got lots of recruiting information to get to and lots of other things to talk about as well. Before we do that, let's get straight to the headlines.
All right, here are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this 19th day of April in the year 2019 as IU women's golfer Mary Parsons wins Big Ten Golfer of the Week. Tough weekend for baseball and softball as baseball travels to Michigan State for a 3-game series. Softball on the road as well as they travel to Wisconsin for a 3-game series. Those are a look at your Daily Hoosier headlines on this 19th day of April 2019. For more information, be sure to check out thedailyhoosier.com.
Hey, welcome back in. Hope you're having a great day. Jim Coyle with you, of course. God, Jake, and Justin along as well. Hope you guys are having a great start to your day and ready for the weekend. The weather is not going to be. It looks like it's going to be those weekends to just sit in and watch live PD or something. It's a little nasty out. I can't wait to just curl up in a blanket. But a lot to talk about. Like I said, Todd Leary's on the show today. Drew Davis will be with us both in the next hour. We'll talk about that recruiting because there's a lot going on. You got a lot of people moving around, and Anthony Harris, one of the most sought-after guards in the country, he'll be on Indiana's campus today for a visit with Indiana this weekend. Narrowed it down to 5 schools, the top 2 being Indiana and North Carolina. Originally committed to Virginia Tech, and Buzz Williams left to take the Texas A&M job, and he was released. And so he's certainly a guard that Indiana could use because they have one point guard, and they could certainly use a backup. As you saw last year when Rob Finney goes down with that concussion, now you got to plug in guys that are not playing their right position. So they've got to get those holes filled, and that's something Archie is definitely trying to do right now. He's got other holes to fill that he's trying to get accomplished, but we'll see what happens after the weekend with that visit. We'll talk to Drew about that as well. Lots of other guys that are out there as well, so we'll see how that goes. Pacers, they're back in action tonight, taking on the Boston Celtics. They're actually a 3-point favorite somehow because they're at home, but they're down 2-0 in this series. Let's see if coming back to Indianapolis can reignite them. They've got to find a way to play four quarters. They've been playing 3 up there. Larry Bird says they've got to be mentally tougher. And if Larry Bird tells you to be mentally tougher, you need to be mentally tougher. So we'll see how that turns out. Pros and the Hoosiers in the pros right now, I think that because of injury, Eric Gordon is the only guy playing with the Houston Rockets. I think that they may be playing tonight again as well. He had 17 points in their first outing in a win. I believe that tonight, just the Trailblazers and the Thunder and the Lightning and the Thunder. That game is 9:30. There's your late game out on the West Coast tonight. And then, of course, you've got the Spurs and the Nuggets. No, that's Saturday. I'm off. The thing jumped today. What happened to Friday? Maybe there are no games tonight.
That would be weird.
That's not true because the Pacers play tonight. I don't know what happened to my... it jumped a week ahead somehow. No, I'm in September. My phone's going nuts. So, Justin, you'll have to pull up the NBA schedule.
You will not find the NBA schedule in September.
No, I was like, what is going on here? But, Eric Gordon had a great first game. And then last night, you had Philadelphia over Brooklyn, 131-115. These guys are scoring a lot of points. The Spurs 118 to 108 over Denver as they pick up a win in that series. And then the Warriors 132 to 105. They wanted to make sure that no doubt in that game.
You've got Raptors Magic tonight, Pacers Celtics, as you said, and then Trailblazers Thunder.
Toronto, Orlando.
Celtics,
Portland.
Pacers, yep, Portland and OKC.
8:30 game. The Toronto-Orlando game is a 7 o'clock game. And then your Portland-Oklahoma City, Russell Westbrook. They're a 7.5-point favorite.
Home floor. See what kind of advantage that gives you with the Pacers and Thunder both being favored.
Yeah, and Toronto is without OG Anunoby because he went through emergency appendectomy surgery, a week ago?
So he should be coming back anytime.
That's still, man, I know you can come back from that quickly, but to get onto the basketball court, that's still a lot to recover from. I mean, surgery is surgery, especially when you're talking about internal organs.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes. We'll wish Eric Gordon and the Rockets well in their next game out. A lot of volleyball, Indiana volleyball. I got to go hang out with those guys a couple of days ago. It was pretty cool. We'll hear from those guys today as well. Coach Steve Aird came from Maryland, and if you know much about him, he'd been to other places, but he went to Maryland and rejuvenated that program. Was there for 4 years and then was presented the opportunity at Indiana. And it shocked a lot of people that he left there because he had really made an impact in a quick time there. But having the opportunity to come to the Midwest, where he says is the core of talent in the country in volleyball, which I didn't really realize that. I mean, I know that there's some serious club volleyball going on. I didn't realize that was the epicenter. I mean, virtually, and I always thought the West Coast would be more because they can play. Well, I guess you can play year-round regardless with the indoor facilities, but just always kind of thought that would lend itself to be more of a West Coast warm state deal because you play outside year-round and whatnot, but apparently not. So he made the move to Indiana and surprised a lot of people because Indiana basically sucked when he came here. And they had a losing record. Well, his first season, they had a winning record. Got the opportunity to sit down and talk to Steve Aird. And I'm sure if we have one of those clips ready.
I believe Jake's pulling it up right now. But while he's doing that, volleyball reminds me a lot of lacrosse in the way of when you think of lacrosse, you think of the East Coast, but there's good lacrosse players everywhere. So it was cool to hear him talk about just Indiana volleyball players, the high school volleyball players that come from this state and how much they mean to the program he's trying to build. But because I was with you, I thought majority of the good volleyball players are coming from the West Coast or the East Coast for that matter. So
we got that clip ready, guys? All right, let's let it roll.
Yeah, it's. I think the most important thing that I do is get my hands in all of it. I mean, I've famously said before, I like volleyball. I love building programs. And this is such a cool opportunity to do that. And I think you've got world-class people here who want to help. But my goal for the program is not only for the athlete to play at a place that's unreal and have fun every day and develop to their potential, but from the time someone comes into the arena, from what they eat, where they sit, what they see, music, communication from the program, all of that stuff matters. And if you're building a business or building a team in this day and age, you better be in tune to all of it. You know, X's and O's on a napkin are fun. And I'd like to say I spend a lot of time on that and a lot of time on recruiting. That stuff matters. But the rest of it, I think, is the secret sauce, man. I think you got to be able to put on a good show. We're in the entertainment business, and I want people to have a great time coming to the volleyball games. Want to win more than we lose, obviously. But I want people to be in love with the process of what we're building and then the environment on match night and have a real connection to the kids. We got some amazing human beings that are on the roster. great kids. They work hard. The more the town, the IU community gets to know them and how hard they go, the connection helps, and then they pull for them, and you can do some pretty special stuff.
We've talked about building the legacy and the new building and all the things that you're doing, the great recruits that are coming in, the legacies.
After finishing his first season, successful first season, the fact that he had a winning record after coming into a team that did not, building that with recruiting. But as you heard right there, he wears a lot of hats. And if it's going on and involving that program, he's involved. And I mean down to the concessions, down to all the game day experience. He's trying to make it a game day experience for people, and very, very smart. They've got a brand new arena, Wilkinson Hall, that's built for them and wrestling. But it's a perfect environment. It's around 3,000 seats. You've got people all around the court the way that it's configured. It'll be loud. He got the students involved. He's trying to get clubs involved and just get the community involved, and that's huge because you get a home court advantage. And it's hard to have a home court advantage or a home advantage, period, in a non-revenue sport. What was a non-revenue sport? He's trying to change that, but not necessarily a non-revenue sport, but if it's not a major sport. We're not talking about basketball or football here, or baseball or soccer at Indiana. It's a team that doesn't have tradition at this institution yet. But that's what he's building, and man, they've got a great opportunity and a great start. So looking forward to seeing that. Do we have any other clips from Megan? But I tell you what, we're going to have to take a break.
Yeah,
anyway.
let's
hit a break, and we're actually going to hear from Scott Agnes next. But we'll hear more from those guys in the next hour. But stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Coming back to you right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become one in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sillersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Speaking of traveling man, we certainly got one. Scott Agnes from The Athletic, traveling from Boston back to Indianapolis. How you doing today, Scott?
Hey, good morning. Good to talk with you.
Thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate having you. If you follow the Pacers, you certainly know Scott Agnes's work with The Athletic. He's following them. He's in Boston right now, about to come back home as the Pacers are down 2-0 to the Celtics after last night. The game one was, man, it was weird with that third quarter. And then last night they looked like they had really had things going in the right direction. And then, man, the fourth quarter, Scott, the wheels just kind of fell off for the Pacers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what really drove them in last night. I mean, it was, again, they had a surging third quarter. They really did a sharp job of not only defending and changing up what stylistically they do, they don't really do. And that's switching everything. So that's a huge adjustment that they made from game one to game two, but had that big burst in the third quarter, carried a double-digit lead into the fourth quarter, and went almost 8 minutes without a bucket, and then turned it over. That late game execution also really impacted them late in the game, and there's no excuse for that.
And I saw your piece the other day, and you were talking about that third quarter, and people were asking, was it just missing shots? And it seemed like they were just missing. But what happened in the fourth quarter that you saw last night? Because and the Celtics did whatever they did, and they limited the Pacers to just 12 points in that quarter.
I will say there were a couple of those shots as well last night in the fourth quarter. I remember a couple. I think Collison again had one of them that went in and out. But generally it was just a tough fight between the two teams. And I think ultimately what it was at the very end with 2 minutes to go, the Pacers up by 2 still had themselves in the driver's seat despite a miserable 8 minutes. And that's really all that matters at that point, because the fact that they were able to get ahead by double digits, then they trailed, they were able to get it back, had the ball, and didn't score again. That's terribly frustrating for this group.
Talking with Scott Agnes from The Athletic. He's in Boston right now, about to head back to Indianapolis. And as I look at this, I see a lot of people, they're not happy, they're complaining. But I have to think, I'm like, folks, you realize they still don't have Victor Oladipo. Is this where this is really showing up right now, when they go into these lulls and you don't have Victor Oladipo to pull them out of that or guide them through that?
Oh, 100%. That was my biggest concern coming into this postseason, is who's that go-to guy, particularly in the late game execution. And it's an ironic or a little twist, not really funny, but that's exactly what it came down to last night. They did not have the sure-handed guy that they could just give the ball to and clear out of the way. I mean, a couple of the times they gave it to Bogdanovich 40 feet from the basket, then they asked him to create. And I think the thing that was interesting to me last night was then after the game, Bojan was saying he was just sitting at his locker for quite a while. And this is a guy that usually showers and gets right out of the locker room. he was just sitting there, hands with his face in it, and it just upset. And I was asking him, what were you thinking about? And he said, you know what? I don't expect to get foul calls. He's one of those guys that hits the floor more than many people. And I think he had some regrets, perhaps, that he shouldn't have driven it into traffic with tall, lengthy Boston players and should have taken the jumper. Now, he hit a couple of those back-to-back ones after Wesley hit one, and that ultimately gave the Pacers that late lead with 2 minutes left. But you don't necessarily like him settling also. So I think he was, having some second guessing there after that one.
Sabonis only with 1 point in 22 minutes of play. Also, it's a big hole for the Pacers.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I got to believe that's just an area where Brad Stevens really adapted. I mean, even beyond the 1 point, just 5 rebounds. So even that's at least half his average on the boards. I mean, that tells me right away that he was a target, that he was a guy that the Celtics really tried to eliminate. And also when you combine the two centers with Miles Turner and Tim, all you got was 9 points and 8 rebounds. And that's not even a good enough stat line for one of those guys. So I thought the Celtics did a really nice job of honing in on the Pacers centers and kind of getting not letting them have a significant impact in the game. And once again, the Celtics not only won the rebounding margin, but did so handily by double digits as well. So that category jumped out at me.
Talking with Scott Agness from The Athletic. He's in Boston covering the Pacers as they are returning after going down 2-0 in the series with the Celtics. I think something else people forget about, they're playing a fully equipped Boston team in Boston that coached by Brad Stevens. This is not exactly the easiest of tasks for a team that is without their core, their lifeblood, their leader in Victor Oladipo. They basically have one arm behind their back going into the Lions' den.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And one of the things with this Celtics team, the only reason the Pacers are matched up against them is because the Celtics had an underwhelming regular season. It was a group that never really figured each other out. Perhaps egos got in the way. Perhaps guys were just annoyed, frustrated, bothered by their roles and the lack thereof, perhaps, of the younger guys, of Tatum or Brown, Terry Rozier coming off the bench. Those guys all played significant roles on a playoff team last year that reached the conference finals before losing to LeBron. And so you get Kyrie and you get Gordon back this year. And that just, no matter how good or how much better those players are, that certainly disrupts the chemistry and the expectation for those guys. And I think so that's what bothered them certainly a little bit. I went into the season saying that this Celtics team has the most talent in the Eastern Conference. I still really believe that's probably true when it all comes down to it, when Gordon's playing great and Kyrie is playing at his all-NBA level. It's just a matter of that group coming together to make it work. And I think you were asking about fans earlier. You're bothered, you're annoyed that they weren't able to pull one out, considering that it was just complete lapses in one quarter of each game. But you do have to feel good, I think, that you held them under 100 points both games, that it was also your own doing, the primary reason that the Pacers weren't able to leave Boston with one win.
Yeah, I still consider Boston maybe I'm off my rocker, but I still think they're the best team in the Eastern Conference when they do the things that they're supposed to do. And they have Brad Stevens, and they've got some great players. And so this, to me, they had an advantage. They got to slip down and play below their level, I think. But I think they're the team to look out for in this Eastern Conference.
No, it all depends if they're clicking on all cylinders. And I don't think we've seen that, for instance, in this series. I always like to take a look at the best player in the series. And obviously it's Kyrie in this one. If they face Milwaukee, it'd be Giannis. If they face Toronto, it'd be Kawhi. So they would not have the upper hand there. However, they do have a better supporting cast, certainly, I think, than Philly, who I'm not impressed by. And I think there's a chemistry issue certainly as well. Toronto's really had its playoff troubles in recent history, so I'm not a believer in them. And this Milwaukee group's never done it before, so it's hard to believe in them either. So if you had to take one, I think you would roll with the underdog and go with the Celtics, just because the talent, the leadership, and that most of this group has already reached the conference finals.
Yeah, and when I say best, I mean Milwaukee. It's kind of hard not to say that they're not up there, but I still, because of what you just said, the talent, the experience. I mean, Kyrie Irving is a guy that not only is he talented, this guy's got experience of playing with LeBron James back when they were rolling in Cleveland. He's got all this playoff experience, knows how to win, and to me, that is immeasurable.
No, I would agree with you. Yeah, Kyrie's hit those big shots. He embraces it. The weird thing about him, I will say, is just his personality. He's a guy that wants the attention, but then later complains about having to answer all these questions and being the focal point of the attention. So all that area is kind of fascinating back and forth. And obviously, he's an impending free agent. He'll have a decision to make come July, and so this series and any future series is going to have a significant impact probably on that decision that he'll have to make.
Most of our program is based around coverage of Indiana University athletics, but we try to follow the Pacers, the Colts, whatnot as well, and so we don't get a chance to do as much coverage as, say, you do. But do you have an opportunity to follow the Indiana basketball program much?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a graduate of Indiana, so I'm down there plenty. I've actually met with Joey Brunk over the last couple of weeks several times, seen him work, and I think that's a solid addition for that basketball team. But more than anything, I think it's key for them to reestablish that culture, what they want to be about, and then build that type of culture that really gets the group firing in all cylinders. And I think they had a issue the last couple of years, right, with maybe talent didn't work together, and then obviously the absence of shooting. And that's something that Archie Miller still needs to address.
Absolutely. They've got a visit this weekend. Anthony Harris, a big name that was off the table because he was going to Virginia Tech, and then they had the coaching change. And now it seems to be a two-man race or a two-team race between Indiana and North Carolina. Anthony Harris will visit this weekend, then Luis Quinones the following weekend. So they've got two big names and opportunities coming in to get to cover exactly what you're talking about, some holes, deficiencies that they need to fill.
And on top of that, doors still cracked open with Trenton Watford. And I think he's it feels like IU's probably a school that's always there for him. He's just seriously considering, is Memphis. He's got a relationship with Mike Miller right there. And then, of course, a couple of the other schools he dealt with, there was a toss-up with Will Wade and LSU. Is he back? Is he not? Well, he is. And Alabama had a coaching change. So they're still involved with that. And then on the other side of 17th Street, love the fact IU football putting the names back on the jerseys.
Man, me too.
It was wrong for them to remove that in the first place. As a guy that goes to most IU football games, I know how needed that is for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. That drove me insane, and people were not. And I don't think it was a lot of people. It's that vocal minority. IU that play for the name on the front. I'm like, get off of that crap. There's 125 players on the field. They're using double numbers. I didn't know who was playing. I'm like, why is Michael Penix playing defense last year? It just, I like it a lot better with the names on the jerseys. But I can't thank you enough, Scott, for joining us. Appreciate it. I'd love to have you on as often as whenever you're like. Appreciate you joining us today.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Good to talk with you.
Appreciate it. Scott Agnes from The Athletic. Thank you, sir. Good, safe trip back from Boston. Scott Agnes from The Athletic joining us. Appreciate him coming to us live from Boston this morning as he travels back to Indianapolis as the Pacers are down 2-0 to that series. And wish they had a Victor Oladipo. Probably make things a little bit different. But we've got a lot more coming up on the show. Kevin Brockway, the IU beat writer, joins us next. He had an interview with Lily King yesterday, who will be joining us on the program next week. So we'll look forward to that. But we'll be back with more coming to you from the Golf Club here at Eagle Point Studios. Indiana Sports Beat back with more right after this.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat.
And I'm Justin Kalen with Indiana Sports Beat.
Justin, what's your favorite show?
It's got to be Indiana Sports Beat, but I'm not ever sure where to find it.
Well, you can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for it each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville. For the best recycling and waste removal service, turn to the area's leader, Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling, a homegrown company serving southern Indiana since 1995. Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling serves Floyd, Clark, Harrison, and Washington counties. For excellent service and peace of mind, call Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling today at 812-944-5642. That's 812-944-5642. Keep life sweet with Sweetland Waste Removal and Recycling.
All across the country, people are coming together to speed up what we can learn about health. The All of Us Research Program is calling on 1 million people to join us as we try to change the future of health. For your family, for future generations, for all of us. Visit joinallofus.org and find out how you can become 1 in a million.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
Oh, man, I just want to keep on singing. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat, coming to you from the golf club at Eagle Point Studios. How about some peppers? Yeah, that'll chilly your morning up. You can use that. It's a little chilly outside. Whew. Hope you guys are having a great day. You're ready for the weekend. Lots going on, lots to talk about, lots of recruiting information to get to. Drew Davis will be with us on the program today from Peaks.com. He's our recruiting guru. Todd Leary will join us as well, so look forward to that. Talking to Todd. NBA action underway, of course. We talked about that. Eric Gordon. Man, he's got a good series going. He had 17 points in their first game, a win. He had 16 points in their second game, which was a win. The Rockets up 2-0 in their series. The Pacers play tonight. The Celtics at 8:30. Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. See if they can get off the schneid. They've not been able to play 4 quarters. They had a disastrous third quarter in the game 1, in which obviously Brad Stevens went into halftime and did what Brad Stevens does, makes an adjustment, and they just shut the Pacers down. And then in game 2, the fourth quarter, the Pacers were rolling. And then things just went awry. But hopefully they can get that back online. For those that listened in the Indianapolis area. Chet Kopic, a well-known personality in the Indianapolis sports skyline from days gone past, passed away over the week or a few days ago at the age 70 in a car accident. I think that was in Florida. But he was known as the first flamboyant. He just changed how people saw sports. He was a TV anchor for Wish TV, I believe. And he would wear full-length fur coat, walk around a Pacers game waving to the crowd. I think somebody did a piece on him back then and compared him to Gorgeous George of wrestling. If you'd have to go back in the annals of wrestling to know who that is, but he was a very flamboyant character in that sport. But he would read, Chet Kopic would actually read pro wrestling results on the air. He wrestled a bear. He was an innovator, and he went on to even bigger and better things. But he certainly changed things and made sports more fun for people. So our thoughts are with the family and friends of Chet Kopic, who is certainly a unique character. Some information coming out of North Carolina. A while back there was some things come up in regards to their women's head coach, Sylvia Hatchell, and she has resigned now over allegations of racially insensitive remarks. So I think she's been at that school for like 18 years. So that's an era coming to a close in Chapel Hill. It's an unfortunate situation all the way around, but it is what it is. So there's that. Talked about the volleyball program. They've got a game tonight. I didn't mention that. We'll hear more from them in the next hour as well. We will hear from Megan Sloan, Ashley Benson, and Coach Steve Aird, of course. But they played Butler tonight at 7 o'clock in it's an exhibition game. But they also have a game tomorrow at 2 against Miami of Ohio, of course, in their brand new, spanking new facility, the Wilkinson Hall. And so everything's free admission, free parking. The weather's not going to be that good, so there you go. Head out and have some fun. I know that there's a lot of clubs that would love to take that in.
They did move Wilkinson Hall by the rest of the athletic facilities, right?
Well, they didn't move it; they built it.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, yeah.
They didn't bring it in on a truck and drop it off.
But it's next to everything else now, right?
It is directly. You've got Assembly Hall. If you're looking at the front of Assembly Hall, directly to your right is Cook Hall, the practice facility for the men's and women's basketball program. And then directly on the other side of that, between Fee Lane and Cook Hall is Wilkinson Hall. So, yeah, everything is right there. Every team, every athletic program basically plays right there in that area with the exception of the soccer program, which is across the road at their soccer stadium.
But even that's close. I mean, when you think about where volleyball and wrestling used to be, it was way away from everything else. I mean, you were a good 5-10 minute drive away from the other athletic facilities at IU.
Yeah, the wrestling team still practices in the bowels of Assembly Hall, which is where a wrestling team should practice. I remember when I was in high school, when I was young in high school at Floyd Central, man, they had a room in the basement that if you didn't know was there, you did not stumble upon this thing. You had to know that you were going to this thing. It was an old locker room. There was an old locker room they used down there. I remember for football, like junior high football, our locker room was down there in this. I don't know. I couldn't even imagine what they use it for now. It may be entombed for all I know. But yeah, it was. I mean, this is a room in a basement that no windows. It's just a room, and they shut the door, and it would get hot. But that's wrestlers, man. That's what they do. They grind it out. They're some of the toughest athletes there are. If you have never wrestled, oh my goodness. I did it once. Whew. Son, you better be in shape. You better be ready because it is intense. You're not running a marathon. It's all spread out. It's high impact intensity. It's a different deal if you have never done it. And a lot of people haven't. And so it's Yeah, it's certainly something. But I talked yesterday. I didn't realize that Indiana is a national champion, owns a national championship in the NCAA wrestling from 1932. I just found that.
It kind of makes Indiana wrestling sound like Purdue a little bit.
Well, yes, I thought that with one.
Just saying.
With one gigantic exception, the letters NCAA across the top of that banner, and not we made this up so we could hang something across the banner. And they also have individual national champions, and there's like 3 in the 2000s. So, but they have 12 Big Ten titles, but none since World War II. They were rolling back in the day, and then things changed. I don't know what happened, but it certainly did. And they've got all the names up there, and you see Ashley Benson, who we talked to. We'll hear from her in the next hour. All-American at Indiana in volleyball. How do you become an All-American at a school that has no stature in the sport, no recognition in the sport? You got to be damn good. I mean, damn good to get that kind of recognition at a place that doesn't get it. And Indiana was not a place that was getting recognized for its volleyball exploits.